Hey everyone, welcome back to another Beast of the Mesozoic review. Today we're taking a look at the new 1/18 scale Protoceratops andrewsi and Velociraptor mongoliensis. That's right, I'm doing a rare Beast of the Mesozoic double review. I think the only other one I ever did was for the juvenile centrosaurs. So why did I pick to review these two dinosaurs together? Well, Protoceratops and Velociraptor are synonymous, just like Triceratops and Tyrannosaurus rex, Allosaurus and Stegosaurus. I thought it was a good idea to review both these figures together. Now, I've been waiting for the 1/18 scale version of these figures ever since David announced them. Surprisingly, I don't have the 1/6 scale Protoceratops or Velociraptor. I know I reviewed, pretty much every figure in the Ceratopsian series. The reason I didn't pick up the 1/6 scale Protoceratops was, first, I didn't have the Velociraptor to pair up with it, and I just, knew these figures were coming, so I just was really patient, and I'm glad I was because these figures turned out great. And the reason I didn't pick up a Velociraptor, it's probably going to be hearsay to some people. I think Velociraptor is just extremely overrated. There's other dromaeosaurs that I think deserve much, much more attention than Velociraptor, but, we could thank Jurassic Park for that. Now, the regular retail price for these figures is $24.99. As of right now, they're still listed on Creative Beast Studios site for, I think, $21.99. That's still the pre-order price. I may get this wrong, so, please don't yell at me if I do. I think David got in just enough to cover the pre-orders of these, and there's another shipment coming in like in another month or so, and then once that shipment hits the warehouse, it's going to go up to the regular price of $24.99. So if you want these figures and want to save a couple bucks, the link will be down below in the description. Just go to Creative Beast Studios and just pre-order the figures, and it'll save you a couple bucks before they come into stock. And one of the coolest aspects of these figures, besides being downscaled to 1/18 scale, is this new blister card packaging, which I absolutely love. It's very collector friendly. You can easily remove the figures from the packaging without destroying the packaging. You even have the pegs right here, so if you want to just thumbtack these to your wall to have them displayed, a lot of display options with this packaging. So let's first take a look at the Protoceratops packaging. You can see some nice artwork of the Protoceratops on the top of the blister right here. This is the same artwork that is on the 1/6 scale versions of these figures. See, the Protoceratops is displayed nicely in that blister pack. And then turning it around, get a picture of the other figures in the 1/18 scale range. I think I'm probably going to review the Velociraptor and Protoceratops. Please, here we go. I'll get it right for the review. Helen Core together, since they were from the same formation. That's why I'm doing this Protoceratops andrewsi and Velociraptor mongoliensis together, because they are also from the same formation. And I think Psittacosaurus is also from the same formation as these two. And I love Dromaeosaurus. That one is getting its own solo review. And then up here, let's move my camera up just a little bit. You do get a little information card about Protoceratops on the top right here. And if you're a complete psychopath, you can actually cut this out if you want it. Put it aside, but the edges right here are taped. I already cut it, so all you need to do is just pull this up, and that's it. And this little blister will pop out, and the Protoceratops is nicely in this clamshell. Let's get my lights to shine a little bit better on it, and all you need to do is just pop it out, and the Protoceratops is ready to be taken out of the package. You can easily place them back in. There's no ties to cut, other than on the Velociraptor. There's a couple pieces of its display stand that have plastic ties, but you can easily put them back in. So let's put the Protoceratops off to the side and take a look at the Velociraptor package. Just some nice artwork on the front. Here is the Velociraptor in the blister card. Let's get the camera to focus in on that. And then turn it around, same pictures on the back. Some information about Velociraptor on the top right here. Pull out the card and pop out the blister, and you can see right here there is a little plastic tie to hold this rod in. All you need to do is just clip that, and I'll pop right out. You can easily pop it back into this card if you just want to put the figures back into their packaging. So enough about the packaging. Let's crack these things open and take a closer look. And now let's start this 360-degree view of these figures. You can see by the smaller size, these figures are a lot lighter, so you can get more dynamic poses with the included display stands. The Protoceratops just pegs into a small peg on the stand, but like I said, since the figures are so light, you can get much better balancing and poses out of them compared to their 1/6 scale counterparts. The Velociraptor looks great on the little stand it's included with. There's actually another component to the stand I'll get into later after we finish the turntable segment. Technically, that little clasp is supposed to go around the chest of the Velociraptor. But like I said, the figure is so light I can cheat and just have a nice jumping pose like it's about to land on this Protoceratops. And yeah, I absolutely love these 1/18 scale figures. They're so much fun to play around with. The Velociraptor just blows me away with how small the joints are on this figure. David managed to pull off almost all the articulation points except for the ankles and toes on the Velociraptor. It's quite amazing. So since they are very small joints, they are very, very fragile. If you're they're not giving, don't force them because you probably will break your figure. But fresh out of the box, I really didn't have to heat them up with a hairdryer or hot water to get the joints going. They worked pretty well right out of the packaging for me. If you're having a little bit of trouble, you may want to heat them up a little bit and just go gentle, ease it. Just don't force them. These are smaller figures. They're not going to be as durable as the larger ones. I like the color scheme on the Protoceratops. I always thought it was very unique and vivid. Translates well to the 1/18 scale. The Velociraptor, it's nice to have a creative beast Velociraptor. I know I said it's an overrated dinosaur, but once I knew he was doing 1/18 scale, I'm like, I'll just get that one. It'll look better in the collection. It's going to look great when the Tyrannosaurs come out, and with the other Ceratopsian figures. Just these 1/18s are just going to fit so nicely into the scale that was established by the Ceratopsian series and soon to be the Tyrannosaur series. So yeah, definitely digging these figures. Now for some quick measurements, let's first start with the Velociraptor. This figure is 4 inches long from the tip of the nose to the tip of the tail, or about 10 centimeters, and just about an inch tall, or just under 2.5 centimeters. So with those measurements, Velociraptor is estimated to be between 6.5 feet long or 2 meters. I'll put this figure nicely in that 1/19 scale range. So yes, it is a nice 1/18 scale figure. It might be just a here too big. And next up is the Protoceratops. This figure is 4.25 inches long, or 10.8 centimeters, and about 1.75 inches tall, or about 4.5 centimeters. So Protoceratops is also around 6.6 feet long, or 2 meters. That'll put this figure nicely in the 1/18 scale range. And before we take a closer look at both figures, let's just go over the bases really quick. This is the one that comes with Protoceratops. It's exactly the same as the ones that come with the other Raptors. Just comes with it doesn't come with the acrylic stand and clasp. You just get this little peg hole in here. You got the piece of Mesozoic logo on the base. There is a peg hole on one of the Protoceratops feet. You just need to plug it in, and then you can get different poses by having it plugged into the stand. And if you want to look at you do have a bent leg with the peg hole on it, which we just looked at. You do have a straight leg with a peg hole on it. The others do not. I kind of wish they all did, so I had different options to pose them. You can see on the bottom of the other one, you don't get the peg hole. So minor complaint. Just if one can come with it, why can't all of them? So that is just my reasoning behind that. So yeah, I do like the display stand. Come on camera. These figures are small, so my camera's really finicky with these for some reason. And now for the Velociraptor, we already saw it with the acrylic rod on the turntable. Now you do get another piece in here. You do get this little clasp right here that you can push the foot under to keep the foot nice and secure, so you can get a nice running pose on the base. You do get an extra one in the packaging just in case you lose it. They're very small. If it just pops out of your hand, you might lose it. But if you order multiple Raptors, you're always going to get an extra one, so it shouldn't be an issue if you lose like 1 or 2 of these if you bought multiple Raptors. So let's just pop the foot off really quick, and you can just see how this pops out. And if you just want to put the other rod in here, it just goes in like that, and then you can just clasp this part around the chest cavity like it says in the instructions, not what I was doing earlier. It does fit nicely. It does clasp all the way around, but you can get some pretty nice dynamic poses with this base. So I do really like it. Like I said, the lighter figure allows for a lot more posability than the larger ones did. And let's just pop it off the base. You do get 2 different sets of legs. With the Velociraptor, this one on this side is the bent leg, and the one on the other side is the straight leg. And here are the other two. You notice there is no peg holes on the bottom of these. I apologize if they look blurry on camera. They are insanely tiny, and the camera is just really fussy about picking these up. So enough about the accessories. Let's start taking a closer look at these figures. And first, let's take a look at Protoceratops. I absolutely love blue eyes on dinosaur figures. I've said it many times during my many reviews. I just always find it so striking and appealing, and just that bright, vivid blue just draws the attention right to the eye. This figure, just an excellent touch. The coloration on the head is mostly like a very dark maroon color. Then you have this peach and cream color mixed in all over the body, and most of that is highlighted by black. So a very nice, striking, contrasting pattern. You even got some splotches of cream and peach all over the frill. All the knobs on the side of the frill are decked out in black paint. The beak is painted in black. You can see the nostril sculpted in. All very fine scale detail all over the figure. Even on the underside, you have some nice proportionate belly scales on the bottom. Just all around a nice figure. Like I said, it's only a 4-inch figure, but it just packs a ton of personality in this very tiny package. Here's a view from the top. That pattern is just pretty wild looking. Not very natural looking, but it definitely gets your attention, and I always quite liked it. I really liked it, and you know, I really wanted to get it when it was in the 1/6 scale, but like I said, I'm glad I waited. And then going down to the hands, you see the hands are nicely sculpted. Black for the toe claws. The same thing. Come on, camera, let's focus in. There we go, for the hind claws. And you get some nice details on the thighs, all nice proportion scale detail all over the body. And going down to the tail, some more of the beautiful markings, and it just ends in a nice black tip for the tip of the tail. And you do have some muted colors on the back of the frill. So yeah, all in all, a really cool figure. Stop, come on, camera. There we go. Like I said, my camera does not like these really small figures. So yeah, definitely really impressed with this Protoceratops. Definitely worth the $25 in my eyes. Now for articulation, this is the mouth closed flush. It is open a little bit. That is a minor complaint, but you can open it up about that wide, and there is some details inside the mouth. Let's see if my camera can get in there. You do have some pink paint, and there is some teeth sculpted, but they're very tiny. Can't really make them out too well. You do get a nice side-to-side movement on the neck joint right here. So a little bit up and a little bit of downward movement. I think the 1/6 had a joint in the back right here, but like I said, for these smaller figures, David did a great job of incorporating most of that articulation. For the shoulder joint, you do get backwards and forwards movement, and it is on a hinge, so it allows you to swing the arm out. You do get rotation at the elbow, and there is bend at the elbow. You do get a nice rotation at the midsection. You get some nice side up and down and side to side movement. Much more fluid on the smaller figure than it is on the larger Ceratops. And the larger ones are always a pain to get this joint going because it is such big figures to move, maneuver around. Hind legs can move backwards and forwards, and you do get a nice bend at the kneecap. All the leg accessories do have that articulation at the knee, and for the tail you get up, down, and side to side movement. So yeah, some nice articulation on such a small figure. I am impressed with it. And next up is the Velociraptor, which is even a smaller figure. So we'll see how much my camera likes looking at this one. You can see a nice head sculpt on this Velociraptor. The eye is painted in yellow with a black pupil. You do have some very dark brown markings along the front jaw. The underside is mostly a yellow color, and then you do have this reddish brown coloration on the top of the body. So nice contrasting pattern. The head shape, like I said, is really nice. Slight overbite, but I'm really not gonna knock points on that because it's such a small figure, and it's just I'm just impressed by the articulation on such a tiny figure. David did a great job on it. And let's just zoom in a little bit. You can see all the nice scale details. As there we go, camera. Fussy little bitch today, this camera. Some really nice scale detail all over the body. It just looks like a shrunken down version of the old 1/6 scale. It's been like how many years now since The Raptor series came out 3-4 years now. It doesn't feel like that long ago. It's just amazing how much this line has grown. Going down to the hands, same thing. The feathers are separate pieces. They're not attached. Primaries aren't attached to the second finger. And the dinosaur, accuracy. Nerds are probably, didn't like it the first time around, so they're not going to like it this time around. I get it. It's an action figure. It needs to be multiple parts. It doesn't really bother me. Then going down to the hind legs, get a little bit of dry brushing of bright orange on the thigh. Get some brown on the bottom. The bottom of the feet are done in gray. The sickle claw is painted glossy black, and the tail has some nice plumage on it, some nice feather detail on the tail. So all around, really, really nicely done figure. And let's take a look inside the mouth before we move to articulation. You can see some nice dark glossy red paint, and you do have some teeth painted in nicely. Now for articulation, mouth can close completely flush. That is the farthest it can open. It opens up pretty wide. You do have a little bit of up and down movement on this joint, but I feel like I'm forcing this. I'm going to go very easy on it. Some people's figures might have a better time with that joint, but like I said, they're so small. You don't want to screw around with these too much. At this neck joint, you do get some upwards and downwards movement, and you do get some side to side. For the arms can swing out. I apologize for my hands being in the way while I'm trying to do the articulation. Like I said, these figures are incredibly tiny. So let me just pull the camera a little bit so it stays in focus. You do get a nice 360-degree rotation on that joint. You do get nice bend at the elbow and up and down movement at the wrist. Going down to the midsection of the body, you get some side to side movement and up and down, very smooth. Like I said, these smaller figures, this midsection joint is so much easier to mess around with than their larger counterparts. Just switch the larger ones with this smooth as well. Hind legs get backwards and forwards movement. You do get a bend at the knee with those joints, and you do also get rotation, and that also allows the leg to pop out. Same thing works on the Protoceratops. I don't think I showed that. And for the tail, you get some rotation side to side and up and down movement. I don't think there's definitely not a metal wire here, so you're not gonna get any bends out of this tail, which I'm fine with. It's very thin material. If there's a wire in there, it'll probably poke right out. So that will do it for articulation on this little dude. Let's move on to comparisons. And first up for comparisons, here it is with the Hammond collection. Alan Grant, I think these figures just scale beautifully with the 3 3/4 inch figures. The Raptor looks amazing next to Grant. Imagine if Jurassic Park had accurate Velociraptors. What a different movie that would be. And next up, here it is with one of the 1/6 scale Raptors. Here it is with the Dromaeosaurus. I did get the 1/18 scale one. I'll be reviewing that one later on. I actually surprisingly only had 4 1/6 scale Raptors. When the Kickstarter came out, I was really excited for it, but Raptors aren't my favorite genus of dinosaurs. But yeah, I've been all in with the Ceratopsians and Tyrannosaurs. And next up, here it is with Safari LTD's feathered Velociraptor. And next up, here it is with the Hammond collection Velociraptor, which is technically 1/18 scale to the movie version. So yeah, huge difference. What science tells us and what the movies showed us. And a big thank you, Gregory S. Paul, for boning my boy Deinonychus up the cloaca, around the time Jurassic Park came out. Could have been Deinonychus' time to shine in the 90s. And here's a fun comparison. Here is life-size cast of Protoceratops and Velociraptor with these figures. This Protoceratops one is obviously from a juvenile. I do have a pretty large collection of life-size dinosaur replicas. I've been collecting those since like the early 90s, and we can't really see it right here. Let me just pull it into frame. Here is a life-size replica of Velociraptor's foot. And for some Protoceratops comparison, here is Wild's Past 1/35 scale Protoceratops. This is the 3D printed 1/35 scale. Also in here is Kyoto's Protoceratops. Let's just move the Velociraptor out of the way and get the Protoceratops just a little bit closer so everyone can see the size difference between these figures. And one cool thing is, if you have the Wild Past Protoceratops, it does come with a little nest, and I think it will go nicely with the Beast of the Mesozoic one. And next up, let's do a couple beasts of Mesozoic ceratopsians. Here it is with the adult Triceratops, and here it is with the Protoceratops, one of the smaller, well, currently was one of the smaller figures in the line. And you can just see how big Triceratops was to other dinosaur species. The thing truly was an absolute monster. And next up, here it is with the 1/18 scale T-Rex. I am currently in the middle of painting. I think most of you can guess what I'm painting it, especially if you follow me on Instagram. Shameless plug. My Instagram link is down below in the description. And yeah, this is taking me a long time to paint this because I really don't have a lot of time in my hands. So yeah, maybe in a month or two I'll actually have this thing finished. So consider this a sneak peek of what's to come. And lastly, here it is with the Hammond Collection T-Rex. And man, you know, this Hammond Collection T-Rex is in scale with this Raptors. Just imagine the end of the movie, just a quick little bite and it was all over with, just a little Velociraptor snack. So final thoughts on the 1/18 scale Protoceratops and Velociraptor. I really love both figures. David did a bang up job shrinking these down to 1/18 scale. He managed to save most of the articulation that was enjoyed on the larger versions, minus a couple of joints here and there, but it's just pretty amazing what he pulled off, especially with the Velociraptor at that size. The joints are just so tiny and they work very well, nice and smooth. They are kind of fragile. Just be very careful when you play around with these figures. Just take your time posing them. They're just a lot of fun, and like I said, I hope he does all the Raptor series in 1/18 scale, and I hope there's more 1/18 scale, like small species of dinosaurs, he can incorporate into this line in the future. Now, like I said at the beginning of the review, right now they're still up for the pre-order price of $21.99, which means you'll save a few bucks from the regular price of $24.99. When the next shipment comes in, that's when the pre-order is over. So just follow that link down below, the Creative Beast Studios, if you want to save yourself a couple bucks. And there's also plenty of Tyrannosaur series figures that are still up for pre-order. So that will do it for the review. I still have a bunch more of these 1/18 scale figures to review, so be on the lookout for those reviews. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on the channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.